Previously on JonBenet Today.
I don't look the same. I don't sound the same. I don't feel the same.
That's good.
And you know what? I'm not the same. I want to be just like that guy, and I'm going to pretend to you in this call I'm actually him. And
okay.
You listen, I'm asking you respectfully, go along with it.
Okay.
Just go along with it. I'm sure that it'll iron itself out on the way to wherever it is that we're going. Probably a killing field. Mm-hmm. I got parodied on Saturday Night Live, and it made me feel like dying. I haven't for all these years been living as a woman. There's another name I despise, and it's a woman's name. And you can guess what that name is. That's the reason I called this People magazine guy back in 2023. People who do all these things and make all these, even the people who did the Netflix thing, which portrayed me as a murderer, and it was so powerful that it changed my life for a few months. It's really bad, and he's accusing me of stalking his family. Well, his words exactly, well before his daughter was murdered. That email was from March of 2006, and I was talking to Michael Tracy, and Michael Tracy finally, because the mother was dying, I started talking to him about this girl's death, which I never had for 4 years prior. All I did was just talk about the girl. He was a very persistent person with me. And he just kept on putting on the pressure and putting on the pressure. And he was using the dying mother to play on my heart. And he knew that he could for some reason. I don't know why. And so he was using her. She's suffering. She's dying. She must have closure. And who's to say that I can't say anymore. But what I'm trying to say.
The controversial one-of-a-kind interview with JonBenet.
Mm-hmm.
The first installment, Bobby. Right. I was titillated.
Right, the reviews are in. Some people don't want to hear from this guy at all, and I completely understand that. But I'm telling you, if you've been following this case, you should at least finish this out. So
yeah, I mean, don't fucking be a pansy about it. And sometimes with the investigation, you got to do things. You got to listen to people you don't like, and you need to trust our fucking judgment.
Right. Oh, and John, by the way, JonBenet KARR is aware that we've released these now. He's
JonBenet KARR's aware.
He's not happy. He basically said God will deal with us, and His vengeance is swift and severe. So,
if it's swift and severe, why is this little girl's murder still unsolved after 30 years?
Right. Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's get back into this call.
Yeah, can we?
You guys don't want to miss this.
Yeah, we got to get in this. Let's get in it like we're drunk on $6 well shots, and we need to fuck our recent divorce out of our system in some small town poontang.
Nope, don't think that's the way you should do it. Maybe don't be drunk for it.
I'm Teddy. Ronald Reagan Dismecki.
No. All right, well, hey, I'm Bobby Pavlovsky.
And I'm Teddy Ronald Reagan Dismecki.
And this is JonBenet Today.
He was a very persistent person with me. And he just kept on putting on the pressure and putting on the pressure. And he was using the dying mother to play on my heart. And he knew that he could for some reason. I don't know why. And so he was using her. She's suffering. She's dying. She must have closure. And who's to say that I can't say anymore. But what I'm trying to say is, okay, so she needs closure. And It just kept going and going. And the reason I brought all this talking to him for 4 years and et cetera, is because that was before he finally broke me. And I finally said, okay, you're right. So before he broke me, I was talking about a fictitious couple. Understand? Right. She was so out of touch with those conversations. She never read a single one of those things. She never looked at any of it. She was briefed. She had these assistants who would brief her on phone calls, would brief her on all of these different emails, et cetera, et cetera. She never took the time to read them word for word. Every word counted. Every word counted. And she took something that a fictitious couple that I made up. And I didn't say that the fictitious couple had oral sex with her. I said, if they did, and I don't believe that happened, but if someone had oral sex with her, and if it was this couple, it wouldn't be the woman, it'd be the man. What the hell? You have to understand that it's easy to hit the high points on this whole case, if you may. But if you dig deeper and understand, well, if you talk to the source, possibly, right. you might learn one or two morsels. But I have to fight to get someone to even just allow me to finish what I'm saying, because people are that dogmatic about what they've read. Oh, no. That's not what I've read. That's not what was in that book. And that book was written by a renowned author. And that's not what the retired FBI agent said on that CBS special. And that's not what was on that documentary in November. I don't give a damn about what you've read and what you think you know. I'm here to tell you, no, you don't. You know what you're reading, and it's not even what you're writing. It's what someone else is writing, and it leaves out. Here's this dopey district attorney. I'm loving it. I mean, I'll just say it kind of like that comedian who makes fun of the McDonald's commercial. I'm loving it. I am loving it. The whole time she's saying it. What is that comedian's name? He's kind of an overweight guy, and he's got a bunch of kids, and they live in a tiny studio apartment in Manhattan or something. What's that guy's name? No, Ralphie May's dead. Yeah, this guy's still alive, and he's very famous.
Is it Jim Gaffigan?
Yes, Jim Gaffigan. He does that. I'm loving it. So I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong, but I can't help but to critique it. You know,
yeah,
it's laughable. It's laughable. Oh no, she was not misguided. She just was not smart. I don't know who was pulling the strings, but eventually, the mistake that was.
Sorry, I was just gonna say. Supposedly, Lynn Wood threatened her. Because he said that he placed a call to her, basically said, if you don't do something about this case, like you're going to be the laughing stock and we're going to sue your whole city and the department and stuff like that.
Oh, that's why she started anyway. Yeah. Well, it might have had something. You're confusing things and you're confused.
Teddy, I just want to take a break real quick.
Yeah.
I know we're only a few minutes in.
I'm getting dizzy.
Again, for my initial conversation with JonMark Karr,
right.
This was only planned less than a day in advance.
What do you mean?
I didn't know I was going to be talking to him that morning.
Oh my God.
We originally were just emailing on a Saturday, and it was
just
a thing
chatting.
where he's like, hey, do you want to talk? And I was like, at that moment, I couldn't talk.
Oh my God.
So I was like, hey, I can talk later. And he's like, can't talk later.
Oh my God.
Then that next Sunday morning, I woke up and he's like, hey, do you want to talk now? So it's like, I couldn't miss the opportunity. So I didn't have all of my research in front of me. I'm just going off of,
Oh my God. You're a human being.
Right? But he was actually right. That was that clip that we've used of Lynn Wood talking to Dr. Phil, which we'll play. That was actually in reference to after he'd been arrested. So we know in 2008, Mary Lacey, the district attorney, wrote a letter clearing the Ramseys. This sounds like Lynn Wood basically threatened her after the JonMark Karr arrest. So, mea culpa on me.
Extra, JonMark Karr, right. Bobby's a human being and fucked up majorly just one time. He ate too many Snickers while he was watching Snick on a Saturday night.
It's not that big of a deal.
It's okay, Bobby.
I wanted to give the viewers context because he brings it up a lot. So.
He's sorry. What do you want him to be? You want him to kill himself?
So here's the clip we were referencing, and then we'll go right back into the interview.
I wrote the City of Boulder, and I copied District District Attorney Lacey, and I said in no uncertain terms, if this investigation is not transferred out of the hands of the Boulder Police Department into the hands of a third-party, objective, competent law enforcement agency, I'm going to sue the city of Boulder, and you're going to be the laughing stock of the country when the truth comes out about the incompetence of your department in this investigation. That letter gave District Attorney Mary Lacey what she needed to call me and say, I want to talk to you. And I remember sitting there with her and I said, has to stop, and only you can stop it. And I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, I agree with you. And she committed that her department would take over the investigation, which they did. And then District Attorney Lacey issued a public statement to apologize to them and to make clear that going forward from that day, they would be treated as victims because they were, in fact, victims.
So you think that I was arrested because of Lynn Wood? I'm so sorry to disappoint you, my friend. I'm so sorry.
I think the pressure for her to do something else was...
No, sir. No, sir. Had nothing to do with pressure. Nobody was pressuring that woman to do anything. Here's what happened. She just happened to be around. This is what happened. And this is what's unfortunate for justice for, and it's like a sing song. You say the word justice for, and then you say the girl's name, and it sounds like a little lullaby or something. Justice for blinkety blank, you know. I can't stand it. Everyone who says it are so lost. They're so dumb. And here's the thing. No, she was not pressured, and therefore she did that in 2006. That's ridiculous. There was this guy who was talking to a professor in Colorado, and he didn't just say, okay, yeah, you're right. I did that. Where's my fame now? And let's go to Hollywood and make 30 Rock and all that. That's not what happened. This man talked for several weeks or months with Mr. Tracy, and ultimately there was a phone call wherein he described how he killed this girl. Had that ever been done in the last 10 years of that case? No. Had there been false confessions? 250, according to Deputy District Attorney JonBenet, who told me from his own mouth in the governor's jet on the extradition flight from Long Beach, California to Boulder. Yes, they'd had false confessions. False confessions go kind of like this. I did that. I killed that girl. I'm sorry. Or I killed that girl and I enjoyed it. That's a false confession. They're very simple and people can do them. I never said those words to Mr. Tracy. Those words, I couldn't even say the word kill to him. So I never said that to him. I just sat there and told him how I killed her. And here's the issue at hand. There were things that were said, as the FBI said in 2023. If you think that I'm just a delusional, crazy nut, an FBI agent was, who's worked on my case for probably 25 years, was interviewed by Steve Helling, the People magazine retired veteran. And he said, Mr. Karr knew things that only the killer would know. And there is no way that we can forget that. It has to be considered always. There is no way that he knows the information that he does unless he was there. So it's not me trying to convince you. I would advise you probably should take me seriously. I wouldn't laugh if I were you. I wouldn't laugh. I have changed. My life is different now. But at one time, there was a different person. I'm not going to go into some I could use lots of poetic descriptors there, but I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to say, what happened in 06 was just a very reasonable, rational act It was the duty of anyone, whether it was Lacey or anyone else, to make that arrest. Right. And had they not made it, they would have been derelict in their duty. Mr. Linwood did not force, humiliate, intimidate, pressurize Lacey to arrest this person you're talking to. This person you're talking to got arrested because he should have been. There was no reason not to. It was too much.
Right.
Because there were things that I was saying to him that had been withheld from the public by certain people involved in her case, one being the medical examiner, which is a hugely important person, I would imagine.
Right.
I mean, then there was law enforcement, and believe it or not, her own parents, there were things that I said to Mr. Tracy that they were able to confirm, and they were so private. They were just over the top private. It wasn't, as Greta Van Susteren said to me in person, I said, how do you propose that I knew this, that, or the other about this child? And she goes, I don't know. Lucky guess.
And his knowledge of the family. We spent time with John and Patsy Ramsey. And something that John Ramsey said to me was that, and he read the emails, had read them previously. He said, this person has personal knowledge of these family members. His description of the Paul women is right on. He said, I don't know how they would know that. You wouldn't see it from the outside. He said, his description of JonBenet and Burke and how they related to each other, he said, it's dead on. He knows.
Jesus.
I am so sorry, Miss Van Susteren, but no, there's no way that it could be a lucky guess. So I'm not trying to convince you, like she did an interview after I did my last interview with her. She did an interview with the media herself, and she says, and I sat there and she asked me, did you do this? And I would not answer her. And she her eyes got big as saucers, and she said, just nothing? You're not going to answer the question? And I said, just nothing.
Ever see the Ramsey home?
In Boulder, of course.
How do you happen to see it?
I've just seen it on several occasions.
Physically, not just on TV or picture.
Yes,
you've been to the home?
Of course, yes.
Have you ever been in the home? No answer?
I don't think that I can answer that, no.
Whether you've been in the home?
Yes.
Why can't you answer whether you've been in the home? Just no answer.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And even after I did that, even after I did all of that, she did an interview, and this is what she said. I felt that Mr. Karr was doing everything in his power to convince me that he killed this girl. I sat there and gave her no response. The bottom line is, isn't it, if I'm some crazed lunatic who wants to take credit for something so horrible, so terribly disgusting, I had every chance to look in a camera and say, oh, baby, I did do it, and it was great. I would love for that to happen again. Maybe it has. Right. I'm just waiting to get out of this joint so I can make it happen again and again and again. Just like Joker. If you watch the Joker film, I'm not talking about the last one. I'm talking about the one before that where he was, that was an awesome film. And I thought to myself, now see, if I had done that, if I had been that violent, if I had gone on a talk show and Robert De Niro playing some role would have been the host of the show and blown his brains out on international television, instead I sat in front of Larry King. So, if I just would have been like the Joker, now that would have changed my legacy and it would have changed the history about me. But instead, I was meek and sweet and kind and polite and just a little Southern gentleman. And I am so angry that I was, because that's why people trample on me. They trample. Do I want you to believe something like that about me? Are you out of your mind?
Why not just outright deny it to her, though, too, on the flip side?
Because I didn't owe it to her. See, there again, you're just... Is everything to you like black and white and cut and dry?
No. I always look at everyone's point of view. So when you said that she was convinced that you were trying to make her think you did it, I'm saying the flip side of that would be just to not tell her, just to tell her.
If I was trying to, but there were a lot of reasons I didn't say I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of reasons. So you're trying to pin me in a corner, you think?
No.
You got me in a corner now, and you're saying, why didn't you just... Larry King did this to me. Larry King, he had me on air in front of millions of people internationally, and he said, if someone accused me of that, I would have stood at the top of every mountaintop shouting my innocence and saying, I'm not guilty. Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do that? There's a lot of reasons why I didn't do it. First of all, I don't owe you, and I don't owe Van Susteren any explanation of my past deeds, whether I did it or not. I'm forced to say yes or no to something? That's something that I put Larry King in his damn place about. During the interview, it irritated me because my father said, I went to my father's house just after that interview, and he said, I have always liked Larry King, but he treated my son like shit. And he said, I have never seen him treat anyone so disrespectfully. And he said, but you zinged him every time. And he would ask me a question. I'd give him a very thoughtful response. And he says, can't you just say yes or no? I said, you know what, Mr. King, I've watched some of your interviews. I've watched thousands of them over the years. And I think it would be a very uninteresting interview if I answered all your questions with yes or no. I've seen it done.
Right.
I was lawyered up at the time that I did Van Susteren. I had sitting through a piece of plate glass was my then fiance staring at me, knowing that everything that I said was affecting my relationship with her. She had a young daughter at the time. Okay. There was a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Lawyers telling me, you cannot answer any question about that girl. Either yes or no, you can't answer those questions. I had just described how I killed this girl, not just to Tracy, but to federal authorities. So, okay, we'll do it your way. I'm in some hokey, dumb little interview with Greta Van Susteren. My neck is on the line to be chopped off legally.
Right.
She says, did you kill her? And I go, oh, absolutely not. I'm gay. And I'm too gay to do something like that to a little girl. I would be with my boyfriend at the time, or blah, 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 or I didn't do it at all. Suddenly, who would show up at the studio but the feds, because they would arrest me for lying to federal authorities, which is what Martha Stewart went to prison for in the first place.
Right. Okay.
She went to prison for lying to federal authorities. She didn't go to prison for for insider trading.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes more sense. I see why you would refer to your.
There's reasons that I have to do everything, and at the time I had lawyers who were giving me very good expert advice. Before the King interview, I talked to one of my attorneys, and he said, I must advise you as your attorney to cancel this interview. And I said, I understand. And he said, you cannot speak about that girl, not at all. So I get on Larry King, and guess what? I didn't speak about that girl at all. And he was furious. He stormed off the set. He was furious. I can't believe that I have to have conversations like this with people. One of the things that I think is so sad is there's such a disconnect with respecting me. People just don't have any respect for me. They think I'm an idiot. They think I'm talking to an idiot. This guy was so dumb. Why couldn't he just deny that he killed that girl, and then he wouldn't be accused of trying to that? Just because I didn't give an answer was not me convincing her. If I wanted to convince her I killed the girl, I would have said, yes, I killed that girl. Right. I killed her and I got away with it, and all of you are dopes, and I'm free, and I will kill again because you will let me. And I would have been the Joker, because the way the Joker did it was the coolest way. And don't think I didn't know how to do it the way the Joker did it.
Right.
Years before there was that film, it ended. The ending was absolutely fantastic. I mean, it was a fantastic. Nobody knows what it feels like to be that. Mm-hmm. And that's what it felt like to be me, except in his case, he did all the things that I should have done. And I knew how to do all those things, but I just didn't want to die. You know, I really didn't want to die. I came close to dying anyway. So I just kind of bided my time and let these people just have at me. And I regret it. I didn't defend myself. I went into interviews. I went into the King interview, and he started off the interview. You informed me before we went on air, and I need to tell the audience, your attorneys have advised you that you can't talk about your case and you can't talk about this girl. And I respect that. So we just made small talk for 50 minutes. He spent a fortune on me, and that's all he got. And then when I did Van Susteren, it was the same difference. The lawyers were telling me she's going to ask what they call the $1 million question. Did you kill Blinkety Blankety Blanc? And they said, just don't give her any answer. You cannot deny it and you cannot admit it. You just sit there. And so I did. And she took that and she twisted it, because she came up with that logic about, well, why didn't you just say you didn't do it? Because I have attorneys, and I wasn't a stupid, dumb redneck from Southeastern America who had a third grade education. I was a stellar academic student. I was in the top 1% of my class in secondary school, and I was in the top 1% of my class at university. So I'm not a dummy. I'm not a stupid person. I wasn't trying to convince her I killed. Why do I need to convince somebody of something like that?
Right.
You want to explain that to me? Can you please give me one logical answer to that? Already, look, here's the thing. By that time, I was already a notorious person. I had enough notoriety to last me 100 lifetimes. At that point, I don't need any more notoriety. So you can't say, oh, he was trying to convince people he killed a girl so he could be famous. Oh, already had the fame. I got that. I caught it. It was a long pass, and I caught it. And I ran over the goal line, and it was a touchdown. Famous, been there, done that, as the Americans say. You don't have an answer for it, because it's mockery. This is nothing more than the public and the media mocking a person, a grown man, mocking a grown man, treating a grown man like he's insane, like he's delusional. My aching eye. I am not delusional. It is to laugh. I have an extremely high intelligence level. I'm not, I don't have any, I'm the least emotional person I know, except for bits and pieces of anger, which I can still control. I am not psychologically minded. I have an aversion to psychiatry. I think that psychiatry is quackery. I am not psychological about anything. People are always saying, you must just be torn up. You must just be stressed out. How do you go on? Right. Because I am not torn up, and I'm not, this is not psychological. I don't have anything on the outside that's going on around me. The Netflix documentary, yeah, some people would have gone into the loony bin after that. But to me, that's not psychological. Mm-hmm. That's something that actually happened. It affected my life. It made me more recognizable. People were staring and gawking at me in public, and it is a tremendous risk to me because I'm not in America. So I risk being deported and have been deported several times over. That would be back to America, which is a dangerous place for me to be.
Are you worried at all? Sorry, I just wanted to ask, are you worried at all about this starting up again with this mini series that's coming out on Paramount Plus?
I don't know anything about that. I don't keep up with anything unless someone like you brings it up.
Interesting.
And
there's a Clive Owen and Melissa McCarthy they're playing John and Patsy, and
that sounds like a drama or something. That sounds like
someone's been cast as you though. I saw that.
Okay, I don't care. I don't care.
I just meant worried about the whole Netflix stuff coming up again.
Well, all I know is somebody contacted me. Well, several people contacted me, and they told me what it was like, and I just said, "Do you think I have something to worry about?" Because I wasn't going to hear too much of it, of the description. Of course, I never watched it. I never would have considered, not even a trailer. But it just was mostly, well, yeah, you got something to worry about. You definitely have something. This is not, no, sir, Mr. Pavlovsky, you're lost when it comes to me. You're very out of touch with me. I have been investigated by the FBI since at least 2001, and you think I'm just a piece of crap.
No,
you think I'm just like a little internet blip. You think I'm an internet sensation. Sir, 2006 wasn't an internet sensation.
No. I'm saying
it
now,
was
what
massive.
would happen?
And
like you said, the internet wasn't the same.
Listen to me, sir. Listen to me, sir. Don't insult me to my face. Don't insult me to my face.
Oh, that's not how it was intended.
I have been investigated by the FBI. That's not Mary Lacey being a dumbass. Do you understand me? You're going to make me curse, and that's something I don't like to do. But the FBI, do you have any respect for the FBI? I know that in later years that the Republican Party has disrespected them, but they're still the FBI. You don't want them on your back. They still have a 93% conviction rate. Every time they charge someone, 93% success in convictions. That's serious. These people have been breathing down my neck since at least, I know, documented in 2001, a 6-month nationwide investigation in 2001 against me. It was written. I read it in police reports, to be precise, sheriff department reports. I heard talk of it in every court appearance I did for 6 solid months, where I was in 23-hour-a-day lockdown for 6 solid months while the FBI was cleaning my clock. And you're going to sit there and you're going to say, oh, well, maybe on the internet. Please don't insult my suffering, what I've gone through in the past, that I'm not a serious person. I'm just a joke. I'm a Saturday Night Live side order of fries.
That is not what I meant. I just meant I don't think the FBI got back into it because of the Netflix doc, if anything. I'm sure they're still monitoring you.
You would be surprised, sir. Netflix did some doc. This was presented to me just after this because I said the same thing. And it was brought to my attention that they did some documentary in the past, and I can't remember which one it was, but it did cause serious people in law enforcement to breathe life back into a case.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I was unaware of that.
You need to respect the power of advertising. This is just nothing more than just a marketing thing. Here's the deal. That Netflix documentary was so popular, it got 13,700,000 views in the first week. And by the end of the year, it was the top viewed video on Netflix. So it's not a joke. It's not funny. Ha ha. We're going to have a little laugh. Someone told me, they said, oh, you're just flavor of the week. They'll go on to another suspect. I said, the hell with you. The hell with you. What if that documentary on Netflix that got almost 14 million views in the first week was about you?
Right.
What if they were talking like that about you? I bet you wouldn't be laughing and saying, oh, well, maybe some people on the internet will talk about it. Look, here's what happened to me in 2023. In 2023, and already the FBI was swarming my website. And they had been since 2022. So they were swarming my website. It was nonstop. And that didn't stop until I believe it was February of 2025. From the fall of 2022.
Was that after the people
to February 2025? And I use intelligence on my website to track my visitors and know where it's all coming from. So the thing is, you think I'm such a joke. You think all I am is just somebody that somebody mentions me from time to time. That is ridiculous. It's disrespectful to who I am. It's like saying to President Obama, can I just call you Balmy because I used to be president. I don't care. So what? I don't give a crap about you used to be president of the United States. The hell with you. Nobody treats him like that because he's respected. I'm not respected. I'm treated like a dog. I'm treated like a pig, which is about the worst thing a Jew could be treated like. So I've heard the reason I don't talk to people like you, the reason I don't have these stupid little, this is not what I planned on talking to you about, by the way.
Right.
I wasn't even going to talk to you about this case at all. But, one thing leads to another in these phone calls that I have with people. And what you guys are so good at in the media is you know how to push my buttons. You know what to say to me to get me worked up. And that's what you're after.
That's not what I'm trying to do.
Can I give you some advice?
Sure.
If you had a chance to have a genuine connection with me, over time, I was impressed by the way you wrote emails. And over time, you could have had a very genuine connection with me. There was another person who had that connection with me, and that was Mr. Tracy. He had some genuine connection with me. It took me 4 years. I'm sure you don't want to spend 4 years waiting for me to say something, but it took me 4 years to say anything to Mr. Tracy. And it was just a lot of different elements. He was respectful to me. There were times he was disrespectful, but it was only about 1 or 2 times. He treated me with respect. He took me seriously. He did not laugh at me. When I described these things to him, he did not say, I've heard that theory 1,000 times. He said, I've never heard that one in my life. And he said, the thing about what you're saying to me is like a jigsaw puzzle. And every little piece of information you give me is like a little piece of the puzzle. And every time I fit it, it fits perfectly in the position. And now I have the big picture. I wasn't treated like trash by Mr. Tracy. I wasn't treated like trash by the law enforcement who came after me. I wasn't treated like trash by the federal agents in ICE with DHS. I've always been treated respectfully by the people who matter. But by the media and by people in the public, it's kind of like Jesus said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. You don't even know what you're talking about. If you knew who you were talking to, number one, if I could sense just an ounce of respect. And here's the thing that if you think I didn't see through it, I did. When you wrote those sweet and nice emails to me that were so respectful, not once did you make a mention of, you just might be a genuine human being. And it just might be that you've never told an untruth in your life. And it just might be that I've never thought you were delusional or a liar. You never said that one time. I noticed it. I don't care how nice you are.
I don't think you are delusional or a liar or a joke or anything like that.
Well, I appreciate that. That's behind us. And when you say something like that to me, that makes a difference to me. It matters to me. It's not going to make me sit here and tell you the things I said to Mr. Tracy.
No.
I have deep regrets for doing that. It was he pressured me. No lawyer pressured Mary Lacey to arrest me. She didn't have to be pressured.
Mm-hmm.
But can I tell you something that would have worked out much differently? The outcome would have been very different, and I wouldn't be sitting here in Europe talking to you, or Australia, or wherever I am, talking to you from a beautiful little jewel of a condo up in the sky. I would be on death row. If it had not been a little small time district attorney who bit off more than she could chew, and she would have handed it back to the FBI, because the FBI does have jurisdiction in my case only.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have jurisdiction to poke their nose around in that little state case of that girl's death, but they don't need jurisdiction when it comes to me. And that's because I cross state lines. And all they have to accuse me of is crossing state lines with the intent to kidnap, with the intent to murder. And it's my understanding it's with the intent to kidnap. So that gives the FBI supreme jurisdiction only in my case, not in any other suspect's case, unless they cross state lines to get to that house that night.
Right.
So that's something you're never going to read. I don't want you to release that because it can hurt me. But you have to understand the FBI knows these things. They know that. And if they had been the ones who went after me in 2006, the outcome would have been totally different.
I can imagine.
It would have been totally different. An FBI agent in 2023 told Steve Helling, the People magazine retired reporter. I keep saying that because People magazine's not a joke. Mm-hmm. He covered my case, by the way. He even went to the house in Alabama where I grew up. So he was really on top of me for all these years. So in 2023, I had a conversation with him like I'm having with you, and it went badly, just like this conversation is going horribly. I have every regret under the sun now for talking to you. It's just that I can't sit here and let somebody insult me right to my face and just keep my mouth shut. And yes, I'm telling you something right now that I shouldn't be telling you about the FBI, but the FBI said to him in the same interview, he used to have a website, by the way, and all of this was on his website, and mysteriously his website was completely taken down. It had been a website for years. It had been his website for a long, many years. And after he released that story, shortly afterward, that site completely capitulated and went down. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Believe me, nobody noticed. Nobody gives a damn. But it is interesting.
Dude, why do you think
he talked to I don't know. I'm not going to say. I told you one theory, and the only reason I told you one theory is because it was something I was playing with Tracy about, because I was trying to describe to you how stupid Lacey was about putting something like that in an affidavit and saying this guy confessed. I wasn't speaking in the first person to Tracy at that point. I said, well, this fictitious couple that I'm kicking around with you, maybe it was the guy in the fictitious couple. That's not me. There again, Greta Van Susteren, that's not me saying I did or did not do something. And just because I don't give you a damned answer, that's not me being a moron and a retarded human being and an imbecile and sitting there saying, please believe I killed a little kid. Please, so my life will be a living, breathing hell like it already is. If you just believe I killed a little kid, I'd be so happy. That's my Adam Sandler. I'd be happy if I could just kill a little kid. If I could just kill one. I mean, that would be so insane. But the reason people kick that crap around is because they think I'm a little fat. They think I'm a little transgender who's wearing dresses and panties under my dresses. And they think I'm a queer, and they think they can just bully me into my grave. I'm pretty sure after you've talked to me today, I don't think you think that I'm any of those things I just said.
No, I mean, I didn't
thinks I
think
am.
any of that beforehand as well, though.
Well, I appreciate that. But all I'm saying is if the FBI had been the ones who got me instead of Lacey in 2006, it would have been very different. Because what I was trying to say, and I keep veering off, the FBI agent who talked to Steve Helling in 2023 said, we were just so surprised that she just dropped that. It was just, and I could tell you, I already knew that. But, you know, people have a lot of things that they say to me in a more respectful way. Most people just say to me, which I don't talk to anyone, they just say, well, you're just delusional. You need help. What kind of help do you suggest I get? Sedation? Because that's the only help a psych's going to give you, is just sedate you. Mm-hmm. No, thank you. I can't sleep my life away. I have a family. I have people who depend on me. I depend on myself. I do business. I have to have all my wits. And I'm not delusional, so I don't need to be sedated.
Right.
But there are other people who think that someone in a high place released me, and that somehow I've heard it all. One of the theories is I'm an asset to the United States government, to maybe the CIA or the FBI. I'm some sort of an asset, and they wanted to. This is not me talking here. This is people talking to me. Every time someone says something like that to me, I always deny it. That's something that I can deny. It's not going to hurt me in any way to deny that. I can just say, no, that's not true. And then they say, yeah, well, you would say that's not true. And I said, yeah, I actually, if you want to really get down to the brass tacks, if I was an asset, the last thing I would do would be to confirm it to some stranger, some civilian on the street.
Right.
There have been all kinds of things posed to me, mostly just mockery, though. Let's just mock the hell out of this person. If we can just mock this person out of existence, that's the thing to do. And, you know, here's the thing about the Netflix documentary. All that was just an instant replay of the beginning of my arrest in 2006. Mm-hmm. There was nothing new on that. It was just when I got it trickled down to me. It was trickled down to me over a period of about 6 months. I'd get little bits and pieces of what was said. What Mr. Ramsey's saying is very important to me. The reason it's very important. Can I ask you if this was any other case and the father of the victim said, I have 2 witnesses that this person stalked my family well before my daughter was murdered. Can you imagine that happening in any other case? And I'd be sitting pretty in Europe and, you know, having roast duck.
That's a good point.
It's got to be a point. If you've reached the point where you can't see that, you need to take a break, because that's the father of this child. He is the closest living relative to that little girl. That's his daughter. And he's saying those things about me. He's basically pleading, arrest this guy, please, please. If this was any other case, that's why this case is a piece of crap. And your interest in it is such a waste of your time. You are wasting valuable energy. You say to me you're a filmmaker. Get yourself a topic. Get yourself a good, sound topic that you can sink your teeth in. You know, the top, the bottom, the left, the right. It's clear. It's straight ahead. And you make a great film about it. But this is a piece of crap. Not that little girl. The little girl she was a fine little girl. I'm sure if I knew her, but you don't think I did. But if I did, I'm sure she was just the best of the best kid. Now, Michael Tracy got really angry at me. He asked me, he says, she was the most beautiful girl, I bet, that you ever met, and you loved her more than any girl you ever loved. And I said, actually, not that. Oh, that's not true. Man, he exploded.
Huh.
He got so angry at me because I said, no, actually, I've known prettier girls, and I've known smarter girls, and I definitely have known more talented girls musically. There's no doubt about that. That kid needed some work on her singing. So, you know, this whole situation is this case, you call it, which I used to tell Tracy, I'll talk to you about anything but that case.
Uh-huh.
And he said, well, I've got to ask you about the stun gun, and I've got to ask you about this, that, and the other. And he did, and I just shot them all down. Let me, speaking of the stun gun, this is a theory that was widely held by very important detectives working on that case. Okay? It was held widely. Lou Smith did a test on a dead pig hide with a stun gun. Everybody swallowed that down. Then Tracy asked me the question. This is my chance to convince Tracy that I'm the killer, right? All I got to do, this is how easy it is if I'm some kind of a con artist.
Right.
This is how simple and easy it is. He asked me the question, did you use a stun gun? And I said, absolutely not. Out of the question, never considered, wouldn't do something like that to her, just not true. And that wouldn't that have been my chance? All I had to do was say, caught me.
Right.
Caught me red-handed. Now give me my fame and let me make my record deal, and maybe I can sing with somebody and make a guest cameo appearance on the Kardashians. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. Those beautiful opportunities of being the killer, the fake killer, the fako. I have never been called a liar in my life. Maybe when I was a kid on the playground, I might have been called a liar by some bully. I have never had a reputation of lying. I have never had mental illness in my history ever. You want to bring up my mother, and I can tell you there's one thing that we know from DNA technology. Heredity doesn't work like that. It's not a cut and dried thing. It's not your mother had some kind of mental problem, so you got 50% of that. That's not, it might have dodged me. It might have dodged me altogether, and I'm pretty sure it dodged me altogether.
Right.
So that's the cry that everyone has is, oh, his mother, he's just like his. I was around my mother to the age of 4.5. And do you think I remembered when I was 1? Do you think I remembered her when I was 2? How about 3? Maybe 3.5 to 4.5. And 3.5 is pushing the limit of remembering this woman in my life.
Even 4 is.
Less than a year from 3.5 to 4.5, I might have remembered some things about my mother. And then I was quickly taken from my mother and raised in the Ward and June Cleaver countryside of my grandparents, who were nothing like my mother in any way, form, or fashion. Nothing psychological was going on in that house. Nothing. Except people talking about my mother. And that was about it. Right. So, no, the environment wasn't there. I do remember her trying to kill me a few times.
Jesus.
Yeah, she tried to kill me a few times. It wasn't as traumatic as she could have made it. I mean, it wasn't like she took me in like that film with Macaulay Culkin, and at the very end where the mother is killing Macaulay Culkin, the kid, because he's evil.
The good son, yes.
Yeah, the good son. That's very good. Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. And I like Macaulay Culkin. I used to have a teacher. I hired a teacher at a school, and he said, "You look like Macaulay Culkin," and he called me Macaulay. And I was his boss. I hired him, and he'd say, "Hey, Macaulay," and I just let him get away with it because I always respected that kid. And then he went on, of course, to be very good friends with Michael Jackson. And one of the things that came out of this that was good is that for about 24 hours, international news was rolling tape about me taking up for Michael Jackson to Tracy in emails. And they said, look who this person is identifying with now. It's another pedophile. And this is before he died. And I'm sure he saw it. And then I had the opportunity to talk to one of his attorneys, and I conveyed a message to Michael before he died. And there were things that happened that changed in my life, and some of it wasn't just terrible.
Right.
I mean, before that happened, I wouldn't have been able to have Michael Jackson's attorney, right, and to convey a message to him. I didn't reach out to Michael Jackson's attorney. He reached out to me. That's how that I was an important person. I wasn't a piece of trash in 2006. That's something that subsequently has been depicted in documentaries and movies. It's not how it was. I was treated with utmost respect by people in the media. And when you said, oh, these people in the media, you've had such bad experiences, they wined and dined me. They hauled me around in limos. I stayed in 5-star hotels. I was treated like a king. And here's another question you need to ask yourself. Would that have happened to, I don't know, Charlie Manson? I don't think so. Right. Would that have happened to any other child killer, for instance? See, my situation, there's things about my situation that are much more interesting than just let's flush this guy down the toilet as a delusional liar.
Right.
A lot more. I had bodyguards. They were provided to me by Larry King and some other journalists. They provided bodyguards for me. I needed them. People were approaching me, and people didn't have good intentions when they did approach me. I've been death threatened, et cetera, et cetera. But there's other things that people could talk about to me in interviews or phone calls or whatever, but they're not interested in that. They want to ask me that $1 million question. They want to insult the hell out of me. Mostly it's just that. If I can insult this guy enough times in a phone call, I'll get him cranked up. And I've already heard about his little hot temper, and he'll just burble up some crap, and then I'll print it. Some money on the table. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it worth a damn. And I don't, I'm asking you out of respect for the person you're talking to, which is probably about none. I'm asking you that you would not release to the public what I said in this phone call.
No, absolutely not.
I asked Steve Helling the same thing, and he lied. And not only did he lie, he wrote an entire article about the phone call. And then he did interview after interview after interview. And he's the one, though, the reason the first time that Mr. Ramsey made the statement that I had stalked the family well before his daughter died, he released it in a written statement. And he didn't say it like he did on the Netflix thing. He waited for another year before he would actually sit in front of a camera and say those things. But no, I'm not flavor of the week.
No.
And one of the reasons I'm not is because I was the only person in this girl's death who was ever arrested. If you think I wasn't arrested and that was some kind of a funny joke and it was a practical joke, you can find my arrest warrant online. It shows all 5 charges. It's online. It's been unsealed and released to the public.
I read it.
So there were, thank you. There were 5 charges, and Mary Lacey confused the public and the media about this complicated system that the state of Colorado has about we didn't charge him with anything. We didn't touch this guy. He might try to sue us. We didn't charge him. No. There are charges on an arrest warrant. I was extradited. There were charges.
Right.
And she had to drop them. And she had to announce to the press, I am dropping these charges. But there never were charges.
From what I understand, you're saying you still don't truly know where he was December 25th and 26th of 1996. So did you not file formal charges solely on not having a match on the DNA?
Here's what you're correct in your statement.
If you ever think that there never were charges, they're documented on the arrest warrant. It was a real arrest warrant. It wasn't Mickey Mouse. It wasn't someone had a theory and they just wanted to roll the dice. If they had wanted my DNA, they could have gotten it in Thailand. They had access to my apartment, to my drinking glasses, to food that I had eaten.
Why didn't you surreptitiously take DNA in Bangkok before you took this person into custody? We did. We took surreptitious DNA on multiple occasions. Immediately upon locating this person who went to mailboxes to pick up a package that we sent to him, 2 different officers took DNA off of the bicycle that he rode back. On a separate occasion, they obtained a cup that he used to drink from and a tissue or wipe that he used to wipe his hands. The bottom line is that after we did that, our expert, and we put a great deal of respect in our expert from the Denver lab, said that the sample in the underwear of the victim was a mixed sample, and that we do not want to compare a mixed sample with a mixed sample. We need a pristine sample. That means a buccal swab. A buccal swab can only be taken by consent or by court proceeding or court order. We couldn't get his consent because he didn't know he was under investigation, and we couldn't alert him at that time.
They had every opportunity to get a DNA sample before they extradited me to Los Angeles, where I was in an official courtroom and I attended an extradition hearing and I waived to extradition. I had these little public defenders and I got angry at them because I told them, I want to be in street clothes when they take me down. I don't want to be in this stupid orange jumpsuit on camera. I said, because I'm going to be on camera and I look ridiculous. I look horrible. So they promised me that. And I showed up and I said, where are my street clothes? And they said, oh, we couldn't make that happen for you. And I said, yeah, well, it just made me so angry.
Jesus.
That's a behind the scene thing, I'm telling you. But I stood in the same spot that some of these other notorious people have stood. The courtroom was tremendously packed. It was just wall to wall people, but there were only about 3 cameras. So they had decided they were only going to let 3 networks go into the courtroom, and they were huge. They were on tripods. I remember that. And they were just shooting across the courtroom, and I was standing behind this glass, which I would suppose is bulletproof. And there was an extradition hearing. So can you explain to me, he read off the charges.
Right.
I was being extradited and he read off all those 5 charges, but Mary Lacey insisted there was never any charges against me. Yes, there was. And just because they didn't officially file them and go to the trial, which I never got my day in court. I'm going to say that to you. I never got my day in court. I deserve to get my day in court. And going back to me saying about 20 minutes ago, you said I was cleared. No, I was not cleared. The only way a person can be cleared is if they are found not guilty at the end of a trial and they are in a state that does not have double jeopardy immunity. I have seen cases recently that have been tried 3 times, just like a baseball game. And they get found not guilty the first time, and people are saying, "Oh, you got cleared." No, not even then. And then they took them back to court for the second time, hung jury the second time, and then they take them back to court to a trial the third time. Third time's the charm. They finally get a conviction. I don't think that's fair, but please know your law better than to tell me I got cleared. I didn't get cleared. I still have a father of this victim saying that I stopped her, saying that here's what he said recently. He slept in my daughter's bed.
Jesus.
Now, I don't know about you, but if someone said you slept in that little girl's bed, would you be worried or concerned, or would you just say, "Oh, I'm just flavor of the week"?
No. I would. That's a good point.
But why do people expect me to scoff it off and act like it's just a funny little ha-ha joke? It's because they don't take me seriously. But that's the father of the little girl. It doesn't get any closer in relationship to this child. So I don't understand that. I don't understand why I have to be treated like that. It's just disrespect. It's stupidity. It's stupidity. I'm not trying to convince you of anything like that. If I could, you're not a Fed, so I can. Do you want me to tell you that I didn't do it?
No.
Would you like that?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Honestly, I'm not asking.
Well, why not? Why not? It would prove I'm not delusional if I could just tell you I didn't do it. Because here's the thing about delusion. Delusional people can't say they didn't do it. Is that why you said that about the Greta Van Susteren interview? Why didn't you just say you didn't do it? Because you think I'm delusional?
No, because you think you're delusional.
People cannot say.
No, not even that.
Delusional people cannot. You already explained it. Delusional people cannot say that their delusion is not true. So if you think I'm delusional, then I can very easily tell you I never even knew that girl.
Right.
It'd be impossible for me to kill a girl I've never met. You want me to say that to you? I can.
No.
It's very simple. It's simple. It's easy. And I can do it in a convincing way. I'm going to tell you something, man. Just between you and me. And I don't want you to tell anyone I said this. I had nothing to do with that girl's death. I wasn't in that state that night. I might have known her, but just because I knew her, it doesn't mean I killed her. Why would I kill her? What would be the motive?
Right.
That is a denial. It's a beautiful one. And it's perfectly expressed, emotionally expressed. If I'm delusional, I can't do that. And the reason I wouldn't be able to do it is because I want you to believe that I did do it. I want you to believe my delusion. I want you to believe this delusion. I can't deny it. It would plant doubt in your mind, even though you already have doubt in your mind because you think I'm delusional anyway.
I don't.
This was about a private phone call. This is all it was about. And you need to understand this. This started because I was talking in a phone call like I'm talking to you right now with someone I somewhat trusted. Somewhere along the way, he had convinced me he wasn't recording the phone call. He wasn't communicating with law enforcement. He was communicating with the parents. He did let me know that. That's what happened. And it resulted in an arrest. There was no false confession. Nobody went into a police station. Nobody went in like the movie Seven, where Kevin Spacey goes in and he's covered in blood and says, "I'm your man. Arrest me. I'm the killer you're looking for. I'm the serial killer. Get me. Here I am." It did not happen that way. No one did that. I didn't walk into any place. I was having a phone call with Mr. Tracy just like I'm having with you. Same exact scenario.
Right.
That's not someone who's using a name that wasn't a name I legally had.
Right.
Using a name that was not a pseudonym name, calling from 8,000 miles away, not giving my location, trying everything. You want to talk about Greta Van Susteren? He tried everything in his power to convince me. No, I tried everything in my power before that arrest to never be arrested.
Right.
I was in my 5th year, not my 5th week. I was in my 5th year of being a fugitive from the FBI, from California authorities.
Right.
And I need to screw that up. No, I did just the opposite. I did not turn myself in. I did not offer a confession. I confided. I didn't confess.
Right.
I confided in Mr. Tracy, and he stabbed me in the back, and I will pay for that for the rest of my life. Whether it's on down the road, there's a trial, and I get thrown into the prison, and I'm on death row, because this will be a death row situation. I don't give a crap what anyone says. It will be death row. That state is a death penalty state, and they lied in the media back in 2006 and said the last execution was in 1967. It was in 1996. So the thing is, that case is so over the top. It was so dramatic. It's now garnered so much. It used to just have national attention. Then after I was arrested, it became international attention. And of course, people won't admit that. They don't want to acknowledge that. But that's exactly what happened. Because before, as a matter of fact, these people in Thailand, they said, who is this person? And I said, it's just this little wealthy child, and it's a big story in America, and it's in the tabloids. And they were like, well, we never heard of her. And when we said we never heard of her, the Americans are looking at us with surprise on their face. And I said, because the Americans think that the whole world revolves around their country, and they don't understand. But this whole story became international because of my arrest. Mm-hmm. That's when it started. And it has not stopped. I mean, it simmers down from time to time. I hate it.
It flares back up.
I despise it. There's so much bitterness I feel. And if you read those last two paragraphs of my final, it's probably my final statement. Mm-hmm. But I ended up talking to you for an hour and a half in a phone call, and I hate myself for it.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to ask you questions about yourself, and I was going to be, I have a life, I have a life. I have a life aside from these stupid people chasing me around. And if they're not mocking me, they're trying to throw a net over me or trying to assassinate me.
I mean, and if you're open to another call in the near future, I would love if we just had one where we didn't even talk about the case at all.
Oh, I wasn't talking about the case. I was talking about my case.
I know.
I had a case. The FBI has a case, and it's not called the JBR case. It's called the Karr case. Mm-hmm. Because they're not looking at me just for that. They're looking at me in 2001, I'm trying to tell you something. This was not televised. This was not publicized. It was a private thing. The FBI launched a nationwide investigation against me. Mm. It was for serial child murder and kidnapping. So 2006 was not new to me. And when it happened, it wasn't a shock. I already went through it. Except the first time around in 2001, it was the real people. The FBI, I have more respect for them than I do Mary Lacey. They're not elected officials. They have resources. They at least they have college educations, mm-hmm. and they have intelligence. And there's a lot of them. So the thing about the FBI is there's so many of them. And did you know that they have these things called legats, and they're in every U.S. embassy the world over. If you walk into a U.S. embassy abroad, the FBI is in there. Mm. It's a small office. It's not big, but the FBI is in 200 some odd countries worldwide. But they do not talk. I don't know how Steve Helling got this person to talk. He wasn't a retired FBI agent. I can't remember the word right now. Mm. I was almost killed in 2022 in a cycling accident, and I suffered a moderate TBI. So that basically wiped out all of my memory, and it started to replenish and come back after about a year later. It started coming back with a vengeance, and now I can remember things that I hadn't thought of in 50 years.
Wow.
I can remember names of people and things, but still there's some patches of my memory that are not like, why would I not remember the word that he used to refer to these FBI people? Anyway, I'm sorry I wasn't what you expected me to be.
Oh no.
I'm sorry I don't talk like an imbecile or a country hick.
You don't owe me any apologies.
Well, it's sarcastic. I haven't lived in the United States for 5 years, so I haven't been around Americans for that amount of time.
Probably for the best. We're not great.
Well, I have. That's not true. I have been around Americans in that amount of time, but I'm talking about strangers. I'm not talking about people close to me. There are people close to me that are mostly American, but I haven't been around Americans who wish me harm. But I shouldn't have taken so much of your time.
Oh no, you're fine. I appreciate you
in the first place.
Well, I mean, honestly, I appreciate you even talking with me.
Extra, Mark Karr is right again. JonBenet was a mediocre singer. I said it. He said it.
Okay,
we agree.
That's not.
Do
Do you feel good that you two are the ones that agree on that?
I don't know what her favorite U2 song was, Bobby.
Jesus
it was
Christ.
probably
Anywho,
Beautiful Day.
So
But that came out after she died.
yeah, yeah, that's great.
But Bobby, I gotta say, I'm so pleasantly surprised by like how pleasantly this conversation's going.
Oh yeah, well it's not
You're
over.
not making a new best friend now,
It's not over. It's not over. There's actually a reason I stopped it right here.
Oh.
Because this is where the conversation starts to get a little weirder and off the rails. Not that it hasn't
It
already
gets
been
weird.
Well, there's a part that I'm going to leave out.
Still
but there's
on the rails.
He starts to basically suggest he knows where we are.
What?
Yeah, because
He not know where me and Donna live in the house.
no, he doesn't know. He just has a general idea, supposedly. But basically, he was like, I use this high-tech tracking software to whatever. And I figured out how he did it. It was basically because the night before, he was like, hey, if we're going to talk, I do suggest reading this article on my website first.
Oh, yeah.
So he would know when I visited it. It's like, because there's not that much traffic to his site.
Oh, yeah. He looked
So
at
it's
your
not
PP
it's not
address.
that high tech, but it got weird when he was doing that. You'll hear, try to ask him, hey, what do I call you now? And that's where we kind of go off the rails. And Le Cesura gets brought up. For those uninitiated, in our two-part episodes on John Mark Karr, we found that there's this website called Le Cesura.
La scissors, but Cesura.
It stands for She Whispers, and it's basically a news gossip site that's run all about Mr. John Mark Karr.
Yeah, with like press releases and things. It's really
not real press releases, but
they're typed.
We figured out on our two-part episode that it was John Mark Karr's.
It was his website.
He links to it. It's very similar. The pictures that he uses on it and the photography and stuff like that.
She whispers.
Well, I accidentally make mention of that to John Mark Karr. You're going to hear this. It goes...
He not like when you say with Thesaurus?
No.
Bobby.
So it goes off the rails. And to clarify, he doesn't hang up. He ends up losing connection. But let's hear out the rest of this call.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And what do you prefer to be called now? Because I know earlier you said
my name is Reich.
Reich?
My name is Reich,
All
and
right.
you would know that if you had delved into my websites.
I mean, I know
enough,
the
but you
Alexis
haven't.
Valorant Reich. I didn't know it was just Reich though.
If you say a name that I just told you at the beginning of the call that I despise, which is a woman's name, that's not my name, sir. That's not my name.
Okay.
That is not my name. Did I say that's my name?
No. You just said Reich. I didn't know.
And I said my name is. Well, that's a word. That's one word. Okay.
Right.
Is there something confusing about talking to me? Do I talk so funny or something that you can't understand what I'm saying? I said Reich.
Mm-hmm. But then you insinuated that if I had done any research on you, I would know that. So I was just letting you know that. Okay, well, I know that it's probably Reich.
Your idea of researching me is not looking at my own sites.
No, it is. Le Cesura and your site. I look at your websites all the time.
Le Cesura is not my site, sir.
Okay.
That is not my site. Damn it, you. So
it uses a lot of the same pictures that you use.
Oh God! What other?
You tag it. You tag it the same way with like the same font and everything. The same pictures you attribute to your photography on your website are it's almost styled exactly the same on Le Cesura.
No, it's not. No, it's not, sir. No, it's not.
Well, I apologize for that.
So you're trying to tell me the gospel of me.
No, I'm not
and
at all.
You're trying to make a fool out of me and say that I had a website that did news stories about myself to make me look like a moron, and you're shoving it down my throat like a bully. Is what you're doing.
That's not what I'm trying to do
You
at all.
brought up
You said
a
your
name
websites, so I'm saying, what's the other one other than
my
JonMarkKarr.com?
websites. I did not say that is not my website. Damn it!
Okay, I know what I'm saying is you just said my websites. If you would read my websites, so I didn't know which other one you were referring to other than your main one.
Websites has nothing to do with CNN's website.
No. You said if you've been looking at my websites.
You have read garbage about me that makes me look like an idiot.
I read your website.
How dare you shove down my throat? And when I said that's not my website, that's where it should have ended. Instead, you said, oh, the same font's being used. It's identical, the same. Why are you doing that to me? What, are you beating me with that?
I'm not trying to, but you were getting more insulting as far as.
Why don't you have, look, that is an insult. Why don't you stop when I said that's not my website? Damn it. I don't think
Because it was going to lead more into you trying to insult my intelligence.
The least bit of respect. You're insulting not just my intelligence. You're making a false accusation against me, and you are driving that home, sir. This isn't about you. This isn't about you. This is about you accusing me of something.
It's not
Have
accusing.
I accused you of anything? Have I? Yeah, it is, sir. Yes, it is. I said it's not my website.
Okay.
And you kept driving it home.
And then I still wanted to get to the point of what you meant when you said my websites. When you said you haven't read my websites, what did you mean by websites? I've read your JonMarkKarr. What's the other one?
Yeah.
What's the other one?
It's linked. It's linked from the JMK site.
Okay, so that's what I meant when I was saying yes. I've read both of those. So you said my websites. So that's all I was trying to acknowledge is that I've gone to both of the sites that you're talking about.
Sir. I know you need to go, but you're attacking me.
I'm not trying to.
You're attacking my integrity. Just now, I said the other website that I own is linked from the JMK website, and then you just went right back to, oh well, then it's Lacisura. It's Lacisura.
No.
Lacisura is linked from your website. Lacisura is linked.
Okay, then I'm sorry. What is the other website? That's what I've been asking.
Find it.
Okay. Well,
if you have any respect for the person, look, you can call me those three names if you want to call me that. That's fine with me.
I don't.
That's not my name.
I want to call you what you want to be called.
The JMK name has not been my name for 17 years. No respect, sir. You're calling me on a first name basis. I never told you that you could call me on a first name basis.
Which is why I asked for clarification on what to call you now.
I told you what, you don't have to verify something. You are talking to a person.
If I'm talking to you, I would like to know what I should address you as.
I told you, I said Reich.
I know. And then you insulted my intelligence by saying if I knew anything about you.
You had to go down. No, you had to go down that Alexis Valoran thing, and you had to say it. You couldn't. It was OCD. You had to get it out.
You were saying again, if I've done any sort of research about you, I'm sorry for making the connection that would have been from that, and I'm sorry that was wrong.
I did not tell you to call me Alexis. I did not tell you to call me Valoran. I told you. You said, "What should I call you?" I said, "My name is Reich."
And then you followed it up with, "If I knew anything about you."
I didn't insult your intelligence. You brought up Alexis Valoran Reich. You brought it up. I did not do anything. You asked me, what do you want me to call you? I said, call me Reich.
Okay.
I know what I said. I am not an idiot.
I apologize for that. I was not trying to upset you or anything like that. And I apologize.
This is not about you defending yourself. Well, the deal is, you need to understand. You want to interview people, and if they're a little difficult for you, then you're going to start being defensive and defending. I don't care about you. Mm-hmm. I care about what you are doing to me. You accuse me of having a name I don't have anymore. You asked me, what is your name that you want me to call you? And I said, I want you to call me Reich. Mm-hmm. It was loud and clear. It was a single name. End of story. Go to the next question. But no, you had to jab me. You had to jab me in the side.
That wasn't meant to be a jab. I apologize.
You know what that name's been used for by the tabloids for a decade and a half, and by all of the public? That's the transgender name. He's living as a woman. He lives as a woman. It's a woman's name. You had to get that jab in. And when I said my websites, and then you said Lacisura, and I said, excuse me, that's not my website. That's where it should have ended, and you know it.
No, you're right. I apologize.
Instead, you shove that down my throat saying the fonts are the same, the photos are the same. No, they're not.
Okay.
They're not.
I apologize.
And the deal is, all I had to say to you, sir, if you had any respect for who you're talking to, is that's not my website. My name is Reich. That's not my website. My name is Reich. That's not my website. They're very easy things to understand.
Right. And again, I apologize.
If you haven't spent time, if you spent time on that JMK site alone, you would know the other website I'm talking about. It's been in existence since March. Okay. And the thing is, instead of you going to my material, my side of the stories on my website, you go all out into the funny pages and look for shit about me and then come back and shove it down my throat. And when I disagree with you and I deny it, you say, oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, yes, it is. That's bullying. And then when I defend myself, you accuse me of bullying you.
We're running in circles here. I understand, and I apologize. So
no, we're not running in circles.
We are running in circles.
And I have a right to defend myself.
You do.
And I'm going to let you go. But the deal is, you're not going to tell me I'm running in circles. You insulted me, and then you turned the table and said I was insulting your intelligence. You should have had some respect for who. How about for the fact I'm 60 years old? I'm twice your age almost. Mm-hmm. How about at least respecting the fact that I'm 60? I know that your generation has no respect. Do you have any respect for someone older than you?
Absolutely.
Especially for someone who's gone through hell, and you're going to sit there and beat me over the head with Leysasura and a name that's been used to mock me and degrade me.
And I apologize.
That's the reason I call Helling. That's the reason I called Helling. Because Helling, he shoved that down my throat. He said, you do live as a woman. Your name's Alexis Valorn, right? You live as a woman. I said, if I call you up and I say it to your face, will you shut
Oh my God, what impeccable comedic timing.
On his hang up. Yeah. Luckily, we didn't actually have to resume that call.
Oh my God. I feel horrible that he was defending himself and was in the middle of a really funny, gotcha kind of moment. And the connection dropped.
Let's break down a little bit of what we've learned from this call, this first call here.
Yeah.
So first of all, we know that he was definitely not a fan of the Netflix documentary.
No, and it completely changed his life for a couple of months.
Or Bill Hader for that matter.
He despises Bill Hader. He's a Bill Hader hater.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I found it very interesting too that it seems that he basically said me and Michael Tracy didn't start talking about JonBenet till 2006.
Yeah, what's that about? We're talking for 4 years about not JonBenet? Mm-hmm. That's different than what we've been told about Michael Tracy getting these emails from someone called, what was his name
Daxus.
again? Daxus, who is not a villain in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Power Rangers. Right. He's his own complete creative, controlled by John Mark Karr entity, who's his own sort of superhero,
right?
Or child race. I don't know what we're doing.
I don't think it's a superhero.
He's not a superhero.
No, definitely not a superhero. So I did want to note the things that it seems he gets hung up on. Yeah. Definitely gets hung up on whether or not he was stalking the family. Yeah, because he keeps bringing that up with the whole John in that documentary because he's like, I wasn't stalking that family and stuff like that.
Yeah, he doesn't like those touchies.
Definitely gets hung up on the fact that people thought he was actually living as a woman.
Yeah, he's very hung about that.
And I think that it could be a thing because we do have the pictures of him with like the wig on, and it could be a thing of like, oh, maybe he was pictured doing like an alias or he was hiding out. Doesn't mean he was trying to be a woman.
He was having a Jennifer Garner moment. Mm-hmm. He was having a RuPaul Drag Race UK audition moment.
Or a Robert Durst Jinx moment.
Jinx moment.
And also, again, I think what's interesting to note is that he very much gets hung up on the fact that Mary Lacey says that he had oral sex with JonBenet.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that, Bobby. Mm-hmm. When anytime she mentioned it, and he's like, I didn't have oral sex with that child.
Oh, and he does that like Cartman voice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, and the problem with that, I think it is because he seems to focus on the fact that in Mary Lacey's press conference, we'll show a clip here. She basically says that the way John Mark Karr told his story, the underwear in JonBenet's DNA had to be his.
So when you say, was it the DNA, the linchpin, it was based on his story. The DNA could be an artifact. It isn't necessarily the killers and there's a probability that it's the killers, but it could be something else. But the way he told the story, it had to be his.
And I think that's why he gets so hung up on the oral sex thing, because that DNA didn't end up being his.
It wasn't now his.
But it's saying I didn't have oral sex with her, because Michael Tracy just asked him, the perpetrator probably had oral sex with a child. John Mark Karr responds, I believe oral sex is the only way you could have sex with a child.
Right. He's studied.
But he's like, I didn't say I had oral sex with her.
Right.
We don't know that he admitted to like kissing all of her body, and he says if they would have tested that, they would have found him.
I mean, my God, it's just a terrible, terrifying Sufjan Stevens basement clown killer, vibe.
So, the thing was we knew we were eventually going to be releasing this call with him.
Yeah.
And we didn't know whether or not, we knew he was going to find out. So we didn't want to burn the bridge, and we didn't, we still had lingering questions.
Yeah. Bobby has like a bunch of questions.
Well, one of them mainly being for me is the $1 million question that he's never answered.
What's that?
What's his connection with JonBenet?
Yeah.
Here's a little montage of him not answering that question.
When did you first relate to JonBenet then? When did you get that sense that...
I can't tell you that.
Okay.
I can't tell you that. I'm sorry. But I'm not a stalker. I can tell you that.
Ever see the Ramsey home?
In Boulder, of course.
How do you happen to see it?
I've just seen it on several occasions.
Physically, not just on TV or in a picture.
Yes.
You've been to the
Physically,
home?
Of course, yes.
Have you ever been in the home? No answer?
I don't think that I can answer that, no.
Whether you've been in the home?
Yes.
Did you ever actually meet JonBenet Ramsey in person?
Of course I did.
How many times were you with her?
The description of my connection with her prior to her death is something that I can't discuss, and it's because in knowing a child, you don't just know that child. There are other people involved in knowing a child, and I had to protect the innocent, not the guilty. I can't respond to any details about my connection with her before her death.
Did you meet her at a pageant? Did you... That's, I think, an area that people would be interested in hearing about.
Yeah, wouldn't they be interested in hearing that? But is it any of their business? 6-year-old girls don't know how to drive cars. You've got to meet a child through an avenue. There's people that work in pageants, that work in different capacities. But now I need to shut up because it's getting to the point where I'm talking too much.
But are you saying that you were actually in her company more than once?
Yes.
And what kind of a connection? You talk a lot about the connection you had. Was it a physical connection or a spiritual connection?
It was a connection as in knowing her as a child. I've known hundreds of children. And unfortunately, because there are other people involved in knowing a child, and I wish to protect them, I can't discuss the details of my connection with her. It's unfortunate. I wished I could.
Do you understand why that's confusing for people, though? Because you are very willing to come forward. You came on the show tonight. You did this long article with the AJC this morning. You keep saying you want to talk about things. You want to have this normal life. But you don't answer the questions that people are asking you, the questions that you know they want answered.
There are
Why?
reasons. There are reasons, and I just gave you the reason. That's the reason. It's a valid reason, and I'm sticking by it. And the bottom line is, answering all the questions is not what's important to me. Whether someone believes me is not important to me. Protecting people who are innocent is important to me, and I'm going to do it at all costs.
Wow, he's like a skipping stone in the hands of Aladdin, just skipping across the water.
And again, earlier on in the call, we'll play that clip again too, where when he's talking about Michael Tracy trying to guilt him into, admitting all this, he said he was trying to use the dying mother. I don't know how he knew he could use that, but he did. And then he said she needed closure. And he goes, and who's to say, no, never mind.
He stopped himself. It was bizarre.
Here's that clip.
And he just kept on putting on the pressure. And he was using the dying mother to play on my heart. And he knew that he could for some reason. I don't know why. And so he was using her. She's suffering. She's dying. She must have closure. And who's to say that? I can't say anymore. But
And so again, we wanted to know what's his connection.
Yeah.
But we needed to weed that out first.
Yeah.
So it was, we designed a list of questions. We also asked some of our Patreons if they had any questions of what we were going to ask him.
Lists are usually rectangular.
And so I talked with Teddy and Donna.
Yeah, but not so much to Donna because she is a woman and her ears should be turned and
she wasn't
away
the group
from men's
text.
conversations.
She wasn't the group text. The day before we were going to be recording, I set up the plan with him where I basically said, hey, I'm going to email him the questions this night, the morning before we want to record. And basically, it'll be a thing where he's going to see it. He's going to say, hopefully set up a call for the next morning. It worked perfectly. John Mark Karr saw the email. He said, hey, I can't respond to these in email. Would you like to talk on the phone? So we set it up. And, well, we got him again.
Oh, my God. A whole nother phone call?
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Pavlovsky. How are you?
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster,